Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Torchi. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight, the greatly merciful and compassionate Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Sumo, Tanzan Katso, Tuten City, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dharma assistants, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, how do you do? Aisteru Sarange.
Hola, amigo, te quiero mucho.
Hola, amigo, te quiero mucho.
Sugoyin.
Sugoyin.
Ichiban.
Ichiban.
Kimochi.
Kimochi.
Yumi.
Yumi.
Yapi.
Yapi.
Purin purin. Konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Today we practiced Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva Deity Yoga. Of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the 8 great Bodhisattvas, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is first and foremost, her power of compassion is the greatest. So in the past, for the bhikshus, the monks, when they see each other, they would say Namo Amitabha. Or for the bhikshunis or nuns, when they see each other, they would say Namo Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has reached, when you reach the Bodhisattvahood, there is no differentiation between male or female. So therefore, he or she has 32 Avalokitesvara Bodhisattvas, or her emanations are innumerable. And there's also the heavenly being Master Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and there are many other names. Some appear in female forms, some in male forms. When appearing in female form, it signifies compassion. It signifies compassion. I remember when I just gained spiritual response with the Buddhas and I went to my neighbor across the street. At that time, I lived in Taichung, Lu-Ling Road, number 39. Which means in Taichung, Lu-Ling Road, number 39. Across the street, there was auntie Vanketso, who enshrined Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara at her home, and she invited me to come to chant the sutra. So I went and chanted the sutra. And after I got home, the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva followed me home. I was very happy that the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva followed me home. So I had gained spiritual responses. So, because I was in spiritual union already, so the auntie visited my home. So I was very happy and told her that, hey, your Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva came to my home, and she got really angry and shouted, "How could my Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva go to your home? She's taking care of my home. How come she goes to your house?" Before she finished talking, immediately the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva attached to her body, and she slapped her own mouth very strongly. Until her face got swollen. When she recovered, she realized she was wrong. See, because Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is widely compassionate. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva belongs to all Buddhist disciples, not just belonging to your house or my house. So I got a lesson then. What kind of lesson? Very simple. That compassion is infinite, not just on one person or a group of people or a country. The 3,000 great worlds, all the sentient beings of the 6 rebirth realms, all the heavenly realms are the objects of compassion of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. All of those. So this is actually the equanimity. So you treat all sentient beings equally. No exception. Only this kind of mindset is called the boundless mind. So, according to the Buddha's teaching, a small mind, a narrow mind, cannot be considered the great vehicle or Mahayana. They are not qualified to be a Mahayana Buddhist. They will not be able to enter into the heavenly realms. The egotistical mind is bad, and boundless mind is good.
们学佛呢，重点在这里。
So in being a Buddhist, we have to learn to have a boundless, expansive mind and not a small, narrow mind. Because a small, narrow, egotistical mind is evil, is bad. So that's what we practice Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. So in delivering sentient beings, we have to equally equanimous. And Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is boundlessly compassionate. But anything with narrow, small mind or egotistical mind, those are all sin or bad. And before the Dharma teaching, I would like to start with a joke. In the middle of the night, there's a drunkard that's wobbly walking in the alley. And then coming there was a strong, rough man and said, "Do you want the money or life?" And the drunkard replied, "I want a drink." What's the meaning of this joke? No meaning? Okay, let me tell another joke. This is kind of blue, but it's okay. There are two men who are strangers to each other, drinking at the bar. They sat close, not so close together, and then there's a girl coming in and said hi to the man A. And then the second man asked, "Are you familiar to each other?" And he replied, "Oh yeah, we know each other. We give business to each other. You know, the way I give business to her is drinking and talking, but the way she gives business to me, she would lie down." Are you? Are you? No. Like the cowherd? And he said, "Yes, my family name is Cow, and I'm a dentist." So now you understand. So you have to be clear about mundane things, otherwise there's misunderstanding. Before you make it clear, you should not say anything. So in the future, When you come for spiritual consultation, you should write it clearly. Now we will do question and answer. From Indonesia, 四联谊 should be reference. Homage to Grandmaster. I have a question. If there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who likes to do wealth rituals and have accepted various things from a psychic fellow disciple such as Fu or talisman, Dharma implements, statues, practice procedures, etc. Now he regrets doing so. My questions are, so how do you feel about this question? I would like to ask, if there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who used to like to do wealth ritual and have accepted from a psychic fellow disciple various things such as Fu, Dharma implements, statues, practice procedures, etc. Now he regrets doing so. My questions are, is there a way or ritual to discard those things we don't want anymore? 2. Can an ordinary disciple draw talisman for another fellow disciple? Okay. I can answer question number 2, but I don't know about question number 1. Do you know what he's asking? Anyone? Does anyone know this person? 四联谊 The writing with an eye and die.
新出家的法师，但是他问的这个问题我真的看不懂。
A newly ordained monk or nun. I don't know what he's asking though. If there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who used to like to do wealth rituals, do we have wealth rituals? Do we have wealth rituals? Rituals to get money. I don't know any. I know about wealth deity practice.
当然，你说五鬼搬运那一种，当然是以前道家是有五鬼搬运的方法，但是现在
There are some Taoist practices, But anyone doing that
然
nowadays
后从其他通灵同门
and have accepted from other
曾经收到
psychic
各种
fellow
东西
disciples
他又从
all
其他
kinds
的
of
通灵同
things.
门收到各种东西，我觉得很奇怪，
That's strange.
这个看不懂，所以
I don't
不
understand.
回答。
So I will not answer.
第一个问题我不回答，我刚刚讲了嘛，你没有讲清楚，我怎么？
I said it earlier, right? If you don't say it clearly,
笑话就是这个样子，
how can I
那个
answer?
笑话就是讲，
That's about the first joke, right?
我都搞不清楚你在问什么。
I don't know what you're asking.
这个文字有点奇怪。
That's a weird
我
writing.
回答第二个问题。 一般
But
的
let me
同门
answer
可以
question
化
number
给
2.
其他需要
Can
的
an ordinary disciple draw talisman or fu for another fellow disciple? How would you answer that?
一般的同门可以画符给其他的同门吗？
Can just a regular disciple draw talisman for another disciple?
你们有画符灌顶的举手。
If you have received
大部分大家
empowerments to draw talisman, please raise your hands. Most of you have
你
received
们有没有画符
the
给其他
empowerment.
的同门？
Did you
画
ever
符给其
draw
他的同门
talisman for other fellow disciples? If you do, please raise your hand.
那么这条问题就，一般的同门可以画符给其他的同门吗？那当然。
So can a regular disciple draw talisman for another fellow disciple? Master Lian Wang said he does.
他一定答可以。
So he would answer, sure.
那有人认为不可以吗？
Anybody
认为不可以的，
thinks that it should not be allowed, please raise your hand.
哪位？好，他拿麦克风来讲，你的理由是什么？
Let's give a microphone.
因为一般的同门不可以画符给同门的，他没有修正画符的。
A regular disciple should not draw talisman for another.
没有什么。
Cannot hear.
好啦，有两个意见，好。
So two differing opinions.
像议会一样嘛，对不对？大家可以举手表决。认为
So we should vote. Let's.
这个同门不可以画符给其他同门。
If you don't think a disciple can draw talisman for another disciple,
可以画符给其他
please
同门
raise your hand. If you think it's allowed, please raise your hand.
我不举手，我两个我都不举手，我只看。
I don't vote. I just want to check.
有的赞成。
Some people approve.
第二个
Second,
同门不可以画符给其他同门的。
that it should not be allowed for a fellow disciple to draw talisman for another fellow. So it looks like it should be allowed.
刚刚不可以的比较多吗？连忘了
Disallowed should be more. There were more people saying this aloud.
还是我讲错了
But Lian Wang said it's okay. So did I
？OK，
mix it up?
我认为是这样子的。
Okay, in my
也
opinion,
可以，也不可以。
you can and also cannot.
当你的仪轨完全遵照、非
If
常周全
your
的时候，
procedure or the ritual is very complete
在紧急的时候，
for
你说画止血
emergency,
符，这个人已经在流血，
like the fu or talisman
画
to
止血
stop
符给他
bleeding.
止血
Someone is bleeding and you need a fu to
你
stop the
不可能
bleeding.
写信来求符，
It would be impossible for you to write a letter
很紧急的时候
asking
你懂
for
得
it, and you know how to draw the
很
fu
虔诚地做
if you
祈祷
earnestly
很
pray
虔诚
and
地
follow the ritual procedure,
自己的本尊做祈祷，
and you pray to your own
向根本
yidam
上师做祈祷，
or to your root guru,
然后下笔的时候要有神。
and
只
when
要
you
你的符
start
有
to
本
move
尊
your
来发
pen,
光，
there
有
should
根
be
本
a
上师来
spirit.
发光，这个符就有效。
So as long as the root guru radiate light or the yidam or the protector radiate light, then it would be effective. Then you can immediately help someone.
可以。
So at this kind of
什么叫不可以？
condition, it would be allowed.
你画了一叠符，
But
分送给大家，
it's
大家吃
if
饱平
you
安。
draw a stack of fu and give it to
这个是
everybody
不可以，
for
根
safety,
本上来不可以有这种
that
事
should not be
因
allowed.
为画符
This
者
kind of thing should not be
求符
allowed
者
because
神明
the person who draw the talisman
三者是三角形，连
and the
贯关系
person receiving
要
the
有求
talisman
符者
and the
求你画符
deity,
者
root guru or
要有
yidam
画符者
is a
求
triangle.
符者必须要显现他的虔诚心，
So the person asking for the fu should
要有
have the sincerity or earnestness, and the person drawing the fu should have the power
本尊
and the proper
跟你相应，
procedure, and the
这个时
yidam
候所画出来的符是
should
有
be in spiritual union
是
with
由
you.
本尊上师来发
Then
光
the fu would be
精
effective.
神力够，
So if shines, the light has been radiated by the root guru or yidam, then you.
问题就在这里。我讲，
So that's why
让大家清楚明白吗？
it's allowed and not allowed. So there are two different conditions there.
所以同门如果他本身跟本尊相应，
So if the
跟上师相
disciple
应，
is in spiritual union with the yidam, with root guru, or with
他画
the
符有神
gods
来
that have passed,
有上师来发光，
is
有本尊来发
and the
光
fu
是
is
画符
has the light
给他
radiated by root guru or yidam,
是可以的，不是同
and
门
the
结合
person asking for the fu is earnest, then it is
重
allowed.
点就是在这里。
That's the key
你如
point.
果有画符灌顶，
If you have received
但是
the
你画符
empowerment for drawing the fu,
觉得没有信心，
but if you have no confidence in your own fus, that it is useless.
所以很重要的一点就是说，
So that's a very important key point.
那么仪轨一定要周
It
全，
has to
要
be,
上下
it has to have the light shone on it,
不一样
and the ritual procedure has to be complete. You have to invoke, make offering, and invoking which deity,
然后再
and then you draw the fu, and you still have to ask the deity to bless the fu,
这个是
and then you can give the fu. That's the point. That was questioned by Si Lian
香
Yi.
港
Next, asked by Hong Kong, Lian Hoa Ling.
尊贵的师尊，请问我们怎么知道
Precious Grandmaster,
供的土地是土地
when we enshrine an earth god at home, how do we know if that is the righteous god of fortune and virtue or the house dwellers? So when we register for ceremonies or homas, do we write earth god, earth goddess, or house dwellers?
你要填写法会或附魔木的报名。
So
填写
when you register
正神或者地基主
for ceremonies or homas,
公公婆婆
do you write
土地婆
the righteous god of fortune and virtue,
土地婆吧
or earth god, earth goddess,
公公
or house dwellers?
地是土地福德正神或地基主。地基主是地基主。
So house dwellers are house dwellers. The righteous god of fortune and virtue is the righteous god of fortune and virtue. That's the earth god. House dwellers are the spirits or the ghosts inside the house. They are not gods. House dwellers, in my view, in Taiwanese, Tijizu, they are protecting their house. But the earth god of the house is also protecting the house. However, the earth god is a kind of god which is called the righteous god of fortune and virtue. So if you want to register your earth god, then you just write earth god. You shouldn't be concerned that the spirit plate that you write, what you wrote. If you write it earth god, then it is earth god. If you write house dwellers, then it is house dwellers. So, well, it's up to you what you want to register. Is it the earth god or the house dwellers? If you want to register the house dwellers, then you just write the house dwellers. And house dwellers are different from the earth god or the righteous god of fortune and virtue. And you want to know what you have at your home? Well, it depends on whom you enshrine. If you enshrine the earth god, then it's earth god. If you enshrine the house dwellers, then it's the house dwellers. And you don't have to worry about it unless you see, unless you have a psychic eye, or that's the lowest kind of psychic seeing, supernatural seeing. So we have the transcendent powers. There are like 5 kinds of seeings or vision. And the lowest one is to see the spirits. The highest one is the wisdom eye. And if you have the divine eye, you would be able to see your righteous god of fortune and virtue or the house dwellers. And then you register whomever you want. If you want to register your righteous god of fortune and virtue, then you just write that. If you want to register the house dwellers, then you just write the house dwellers. Very simple. And if you cannot see, you don't know who's protecting your house, and it's okay. You don't need to know. And I know the earth god at the Rainbow Villa has changed. The old one has gone back to Taiwan, and the new one just came from Taiwan. And they asked me that this new earth god from Taiwan can speak which languages? English and Taiwanese and Mandarin Chinese. So he has to adapt to this place, so he speaks English too. So very simple. If we invite someone that don't understand, someone that doesn't understand English to become the rep of Taiwan, then if you're foreign affairs officers, then you have to speak the language of the location. So the earth god at the Rainbow Temple understands English, Mandarin Chinese, and Taiwanese, and he can even understand Cantonese, because we have lots of Cantonese here. So he should be able to understand Cantonese too, and also Hakkanese. DMD. Is that Cantonese? What language was that? Hakkanese, right? See? Grandmaster knows that too. Next question from Indonesia, Lampung Lechang Temple, Huang Mi Fang. Grandmaster, how do you do? I would like to ask, 1. Grandmaster, you said that smoke offering is to offer to all the obstructing gods and ghosts, and as well as our karmic creditors. Can we practice it for our family? For example, for the karmic creditors of my husband or son? It would be sure you can practice for the karmic creditors of the whole family. So when you do smoke offering, you can also give it to the karmic creditors of your husband or your daughter or your son's karmic creditors, or your parents if they live in the house, in the same household. All the karmic creditors of the same household is okay. So offer to all the obstructing gods and ghosts as well as karmic creditors. So you can offer it to the karmic creditors of the whole family and parents, and you have to make the merit dedication appropriately. The second question, if that is allowed, how do we practice it? One by one or all together? Thank you, Grandmaster. Thank you, Grandmaster. You do it one by one. You have 5 people in your household. You need 5 smoke offering incense burners. But let me tell you, you can just do it all together. Like this incense burners is mine, and this is for the husband, This is for the daughter, for the son,
这个是 father mother 的路，
for the father. No need,
一起
or
修就可以
mother. You can do it all
这个
together.
问得很复杂。
That's a complicated question.
所以很多问题啊，
So therefore,
越问就越多。
the more we ask questions, the more questions there are.
师尊，我要去拜坟，到坟里
Someone asked me, I want to go to the cemetery,
华人就不太一样。
to visit the cemetery.
这
And
外国人
for Westerners, they would bring flowers
放在
and they would place the flowers at the tombstones, at the tombs.
他就会
For
拿
Chinese,
煮一些汤圆呐，
they would bring
煮一
food,
些他喜欢的
sweet dumplings or food that they used to love to
到
eat,
坟场去供养他。
and brought the food to the cemetery to offer to them.
他会从坟墓里面
And the Westerners would say, so they would eat
菜
them
那么多摆
from
在
the tomb?
那个坟场，
They put so many foods, so
那么
much,
华
so
人
many
会笑
dishes.
这个洋人，他会
And
从
the
这个坟墓里
Chinese
面出来欣赏你，
would laugh at the Westerners. Well, will the deceased come out from their tombs and enjoy your flowers? Actually, they're all the same.
一点心意。
It's just what's from your
问事
heart.
情的人就问了，那么
But that person
喜欢
asked,
讲这拜坟啊，我妈妈的习惯，
if you
都要做汤圆。
visit
他就问
the ancestors, like according to my mom's tradition,
要放
she would make sweet dumplings. So he asked again, how many bowls?
几碗才好，单数好了。
And I said,
3
well,
碗
odd
我们一般来
numbers.
讲点香炉
So 1 or 3, like, typically we would lit 3 sticks of incense. So how about 3 bowls?
汤圆还是
And he
红色
kept
的
asking, white or red
我一
dumplings?
想
And I
红色
thought,
是喜事嘛，
red is
既
for
然是
joy.
在拜坟，就用白
And
色。
because it's for the deceased, let's just use the white
他
ones.
的问题又来了，
And he asked again,
白色的汤圆要做多大？
how big the dumplings should be.
要1 can 还是3 can？ 还是很多小汤圆？我说我妈妈
Tiny
以前
little
做
dumplings
大
or
部分
big
都是
ones.
小汤圆。
And I said, my mom used to make tiny white dumplings. And he asked again, how many
一杯
dumplings?
算几粒？这个我就不知道了。
I don't know.
我妈妈从来没有说数那个汤圆
Because
要
my
放几
mom never counted how many little dumplings should be in the
问得
bowl.
太细了
So you think too much in too great
就是有时候
details.
想所以问事
But
的
this kind of thing
要
happens.
稍微考虑一下，你是不是
So
问得太细
people who are asking questions should
也不能说
reconsider
问，也不
that
能
are
问
you
要刚刚好，就是中观。
going down the rabbit hole? But you should not be too careless either. You should just
我们
choose the middle way,
中观
just right. As Buddhists, we need to understand this concept of middle
不要
way.
太
For lots of
也
things,
不要太细，
should not be too rough or too fine, should be just right.
现在跟大家讲道果，
Now we would like to talk about Lamdre.
用一则笑话做引子。
Let me start with the joke.
在古代啊，秀才不出门，能知天下事。
In the ancient time, the scholars
现代
don't need to
你
get
能
out
不出
from
门
the house, and they know everything under the heaven. And nowadays, women don't have to leave the house to know everything under the to buy everything under the heaven or the earth.
由此表因，内日言之起相异，心气相异，见气情气世间之显现。
If the mind qi is evenly accumulating at the left ma, ti, za, etc. characters, it will generate all sorts of mammals, poisonous snakes, wild beasts, ugly evils, Buddhas, Bihu, etc. One will understand more during the path of bending, sufferings, and faults. Through the different starts of affinity of the superficial causal inner characters and the different gathering of the mind qi, the scenes of the phenomena of the material world abides in the mundane world. For example, angry face appears as angry face in the mirror. This complies with the following text of the verse. Like the pure divine eye, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. Like when we are angry, we look at ourselves in the mirror, and the face in the mirror is also angry. When you're happy, then the face inside the mirror is also happy. It's in the same samadhi or meditation, there are different appearances. In meditation, it depends what the realm of your mind and your qi would give rise to different phenomena or appearances. Let me tell you. We have 4 small girls from California. I call the 4 great ladies from California the California 4 small girls. One is Linda Chung, Ruby Sun, Amy Jiang, and Teresa Wei. So the 4 great ladies from California. Linda Chung made a phone call this morning to Simu. She said that she had a dream last night. She dreamt of her husband who had passed away, came back standing in front of her. And one hand holding a name card, the other hand holding a check, and told Linda, "These are to thank Grandmaster Lu. He has guided me to the pure Buddha land." He has guided me to be reborn in the Pure Land. So that's a kind of realm. He told Linda, one hand holding a check, the other hand holding a name card. I am this, and Grandmaster Lu has guided me to be the Pure Land, and this check is an offering to Grandmaster Lu. So Linda, Dharma Sister Linda, made a phone call to Simu, and the dream was very clear and vivid. the husband came back and told her. So that's a kind of scene, a sighting appearance. And the next one, you should send the check over. How come you made a phone call and you didn't say that you're sending the check over? So, the frame of minds are different, so that's why in different situations. This complies with the following text of the verse. Like the pure divine eye, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. If you have a divine eye in meditation, your eyes are divine eyes that you can see the heavenly realm of desire, heavenly realm of form, the heavenly realm of no form. Because the more pure the divine eye is, the more higher or the better you can see. The spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. What is below the peak? That you can see the heavenly realm of desire, but not the heavenly realm of form. So your peak is only the heavenly realm of desire. Or your peak is the heavenly realm of form. Or your peak is the heavenly realm of no form. So, which refers to the appearance of the sightings or visions of various forms of the three realms, and this gives rise to the divine vision, transcendent power with leakage. So this is the divine vision with leakage. It's different from the divine vision without leakage. So the divine vision with leakage, you can see the three various forms of the three realms. Because the realm of desire is different from the realm of form, is different from the realm of no form. So therefore, they're all different. That's what it meant. Next, the verse in quotes, endowed with the sound of bells. The most victorious one is the central channel. If the only wind qi produced by the 9 realms gathers on it, the sound of the inner channels like bees humming will be produced. What this meant is the central channel will produce sound. So the verse is endowed with the sound of bells, and the most victorious one is that of the central channel. If the only wind qi produced by the 9 realms gathers on it, on the central channel, the sound of the inner channels like bees humming. The qi is on it, and the central channel will produce sound like bees humming. You will be able to hear it. When your qi concentrates on the central channel, it would produce a sound. If it is not the most victorious one, then it is between the left ear and the wisdom character. And if the mind qi gathers here, then one can hear the sound of the three realms far and close, just like the pure auditory transcendent power. When you're in meditation, and your qi, the mind qi, concentrates on the ears. I have taught this before. When you're in meditation, your mind qi, which is your mind, your thoughts, if your qi is on the ears, then you would be able to hear the sound of the heavenly realms. That's the auditory transcendent power. I've said that. When in meditation, your qi concentrates on your eyes, then you would be able to see all kinds of phenomena of the three realms. If it concentrates on the ears, then you can hear the sound. So transcendent power of the vision of the auditory. So the 5 eyes and 6 transcendent powers. So in meditation, all kinds of transcendent powers can manifest. So you can hear the dialogues between gods. Sometimes you would be able to hear. The sound of 3 realms far and close, doesn't matter how far or how close. The phrase in quotes, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak, end quote, is a hint that the right eye to see and the left ear to hear. If you can, in your meditation, if you can sense the realm of desire, realm of form, realm of no form, the eye can see, the ear can hear. The spiritual experiences of the meditation. The right eye can see the forms of the heavenly, and the left ear to hear the voices of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or the marvelous heavenly sounds. That's all for today for Lamdre. Went to the driving test and the road test the first time today. So after I got in the car, the examiner said, "Go, go." And I felt really warm and replied, "Gambatte." You know what gambatte means? That's Japanese. That means go, go, go. Gambatte. Keep it up, you know. Keep it up. And then the instructor snapped back. I'm asking you to put on gas. To put on gas. Not telling you to go, go, go. So that's a misunderstanding.
加油是加油有2个意思，叫你加油一点，干大杯。
So in Chinese, they are the same words. Gambate,
然后一种是加油，一个是真的
go, go,
加
go.
油。
And the other one is put on gas.
这个可以讲吗？
Can I tell this one?
老婆问老公，孩子快要出生了，
The wife asked the
要起
husband,
什么名字？
the baby is about to be born. What name should I give?
就起名叫巅峰。
If it's a boy,
要起名叫巅峰，
let's
很好。
call
这
him
个意
a
思就是说，坐上了
summit.
最高的巅峰。
So that means we've reached the highest summit.
老婆就讲靠腰，
And the wife said,
巅峰你个头啊！
oh
你是
no,
忘了你自己姓杨吗？
you forgot your last name? Because Yang Tianfeng in Chinese means epilepsy.
杨巅峰。所以起名字有时候蛮难起的。
So it is quite difficult to give a
尤其是
name,
姓吴的，姓吴的
especially if the last name is Wu. In Chinese also sounds
给
no.
他取一个这个道德君子，他是很有道德的。这个就是变成
If someone is very virtuous, and then the last name is Wu, then it
好
sounds
的东西给他
no
就
virtue.
会变成武了。
So anything good in the name would become nothing.
给他那个，给他一个这个金钱哦财啊，我们喜欢财，
Or we love money, right?
财，这就变成无财。
Then there would be no
才能
money.
的财也不能起，道德的德也不能起，那都
So it's kind of
我
hard.
经常给人家起是无又有，无，然后
So
保佑的佑，
I often
无
give
又有，
money, uyuyu.
姓吴的很难起名字。
Yeah, it's very difficult to name someone with Wu family name.
啊，现在问你们，如果这个疫情如果真的结束的时候，
So
第一件想做的事情是什么？
if the pandemic ends, what is the first thing you would like to
谁举
do?
手？
Please raise your hand.
拿掉口罩。
Take off the
每个人都
mask.
会做到的啊。
Everybody can do that.
没错，拿掉口罩。还有呢
That's right.
如果没有的，你想做的事情是什么？
So, what would you like to do first and foremost?
旅游，
Travel.
去旅行，很好，
Good.
很好。去旅游，去观光，因为观光已经死很久了。观光已经死很久了。
Because
真的是，
travel and
我师尊也想到，
roam around, it's long gone.
我要去，
And Grandmaster wants to go.
我要去
I want to
韩
go
论的旅游，
to have a honeymoon travel.
那是最好的，对不对？又是旅游，又是韩论。
So I want to go on a honeymoon. That's my dream.
你们还有什么更好的？
Anything better?
佛菩萨，哎，你懂得感恩也不错。 很好。
Thank you to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Oh, that's good that you
还有没有特
have a
别
grateful mind.
啊？参加法会是吗？
To attend the
现在不是
ceremony.
在参加法会。
But aren't you now in the ceremony? What are you talking about?
我不想再做法会了。
I don't want to
我真
conduct
的
any
想
more
的是
ceremonies.
honeymoon
All I want is honeymoon.
honeymoon 的 tour。
A honeymoon
最
tour.
快人生最快乐的一件事情就是
That's
honeymoon
the
tour。
happiest thing in the human world.
哦，玛丽贝米。
Oh, Mani Padme Hum.